Today, the 24th of February 2026, His Excellency the President Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa chaired the third cabinet meeting in the year, and the following issues, among others, were considered and approved. Cabinet considered and approved the National Action Plan for Children, number 4, which is running from 2026 to 2030. Under the Second Republic, Government of Zimbabwe is committed to protecting children's rights and ensuring they enjoy a dignified childhood through the development of national action plans. The current plan aims to improve children's well-being by employing evidence-based methods and fostering multi-sectoral collaboration. Its goals include enhancing access to quality services, strengthening protection mechanisms, increasing community capacity, reducing child labor, and ensuring effective policy enforcement. The plan addresses emerging challenges such as child labor, poverty, and online violence, targeting vulnerable groups including orphans and girls who face the risk of child marriages. The plan aligns with national, regional, and international frameworks, including the Sustainable Development Goals, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, and the Zimbabwe's legal statutes. Additionally, the plan will be linked to the local child protection policies and legislation. The plan is structured around 5 pillars, namely improved access to inclusive basic social services, ending violence against children, family and community capacity strengthening, elimination of child labor, and institutional strengthening and capacity building. The plan sets specific outcomes aimed at increasing access to services, reducing harm, empowering families, eradicating child labor, and enhancing enforcement. Cross-cutting issues encompassing gender, disability, and climate change are also integrated across all pillars. The plan is supported by a monitoring, evaluation, and learning framework to ensure oversight and stakeholder engagement, along with an advocacy strategy utilizing media, community outreach, and public events for information dissemination. Cabinet considered and approved the implementation mechanisms for rural development initiatives. As the Second Republic accelerates socio-economic transformation, implementation mechanisms have been designed for rural development initiatives to facilitate comprehensive and inclusive updates from all relevant ministries, departments, and agencies involved in rural development and industrialization. 11 critical enablers for agriculture-led rural development and industrialization have been identified for tracking, namely capacity building, finance, water, energy, markets, infrastructure, transport, governance, coordination, monitoring, and evaluation, and information communication technology. To ensure effective implementation, emphasis will be on strengthening the operations of NDS2 thematic committees, which will meet regularly to produce evidence-based progress reports on rural development and industrialization efforts. The relevant reports will be consolidated for presentation to Cabinet. With the view to ensuring results-oriented operations, Cabinet has directed establishment of programs that promote community-led production initiatives to improve livelihoods, guided by prioritized approaches addressing rural challenges. These initiatives will align with NDS2 and ultimately Vision 2030 aspirations, and will be supported by the introduction of a livelihoods upliftment tracker to monitor and evaluate progress. Cabinet also received and approved a report on the hosting of the forthcoming United Nations Tourism High-Level Meetings in Zimbabwe as presented by the Minister of Tourism and Hospitality Industry. Cabinet advises that Zimbabwe will host major United Nations tourism events scheduled to run back-to-back at the Elephant Hills Resort in Victoria Falls from the 27th of April to the 1st of May 2026. The high-level profile meetings are as follows. Number one, the 23rd United Nations Tourism Committee on Tourism and Sustainability, commonly called CTS, which will be running from the 27th to the 28th of April 2026. The second one is the Committee on Tourism and Sustainability Linked Pilot Capacity Building Workshop to be hosted from the 28th to the 29th of April 2026 in preparation for the International Year of Resilient and Sustainable Tourism 2027. And the third is the second United Nations Tourism Regional Congress on Women Empowerment in Tourism in Africa, running from the 29th of April to the 1st of May 2026. Hosting these meetings represents a strategic milestone for Zimbabwe in the journey towards hosting the International Year of Resilient and Sustainable Tourism in 2027, an honor that underscores the country's political and diplomatic profile within the global tourism governance space. The mega events will position the country as a top leader in the meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions, while the participation of global tourism leaders, policymakers, development partners, sustainability experts, and academia will reinforce Zimbabwe's commitment to sustainable and resilient tourism development practices through alignment with the United Nations Agenda on Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union Agenda 2063. Cabinet received and approved another report on the cancer management benchmarking visit to the Republic of Kenya by a delegation led by Permanent Secretary in Honorable Vice President KCD Mohadi's office. The high-level delegation that visited Kenya from the 30th of November to the 7th of December 2025 gained invaluable insights on cancer governance and coordination, health financing and universal coverage, research, surveillance and digital health, radiation regulation, medicines and technologies, health workforce development, and supply chain and equipment maintenance. The insights will provide prospects for enhanced research and development, cancer financing, and strengthened bilateral cooperation on institutional realignment of cancer management, twinning of oncology institutions, and joint capacity building initiatives. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for presenting today's cabinet highlights. Let us move to the first round of 3 questions. After those questions, we will ask Honorable Minister to respond. Yes, Wallace.
Thank you, Chief Sik. Wallace Fujito from the Herald newspaper. My question is directed at the Tourism Minister. Minister, how much of an endorsement is it that the UN has chosen Zimbabwe to host such high-level meetings? Thank you.
Yes, next question. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chief Secretary. is very exciting given that it continues to give a huge endorsement to Zimbabwe. I wanted to find out more in terms of the expected turnover, because we are benchmarking this growth with the concept of meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. From these events that Zimbabwe will be hosting, what are the expected turnovers or impact in terms of the expected figures to be generated from the MICE incentives?
Yes, the last one in this round. Over to you, Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Chief. The first question from Wallace Rujidzo, directed to the Minister of Tourism.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Wallace, for the question. Let me say the coming in of United Nations tourism to Zimbabwe just to accept the bid for Zimbabwe to host these 3 events is an endorsement of not just our country but also Zimbabwe as a destination. We know very well that our country is still under sanctions, by the way. Other people think we are no longer under sanctions because of high activities, economical activities, and social activities that are happening in our country through tourism and other disciplines of the government. So just for United Nations to choose Zimbabwe to host these very important 3 events is a huge endorsement politically and also diplomatically. Let me say, we won the 3 bids, but one of the 2 bids, the most important 2 bids amongst the 3, is hosting the regional congress for all the women in tourism value chain in Africa. It speaks to the women promotion or empowerment in business or in the sector of tourism across the continent of Africa. And then number 2 is that one that we talked about, sustainable tourism, the resilience and sustainability of tourism. It's something that is very new in the spectrum of tourism, and that was instructed to be recognized in 2027 as a year of resilience and sustainable tourism in the whole world. And hosting the meeting, the first ever meeting for UN tourism that is planning for the year 2027, which is for resilience and sustainable tourism, it's something that speaks to how much Zimbabwe is highly regarded at the UN tourism level. Thank you very much, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The second question from Theophilus Chuma, again to you.
Thank you very much, Theophilus. We are expecting a number of people, a large number of people coming. Let me say, for the 3 events, internationals, we are expecting about 1,500 internationals coming into our country. We have experts that are coming from various, it's not just about tourism, but also the academic institutions or the academia space who are coming, the researchers are coming as well, and financial institutions will be coming, women who are operating within the sector of tourism across the continent. But more so, when we have these events, we want to show the world that Zimbabwe's tourism is also supporting what United Nations is alluding to. So we are going to be calling in all the women that are in tourism business or the tourism value chain in our country. So internationally, we are expecting 1,500, but also locally, we are expecting more than 10,000 women to be gathered, particularly for the Women Congress on the very day that it will be hosted. I submit, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for responding to those questions. Let us move to the last round of 3 questions. Yes, we have a second bite.
Honorable Minister Wotsi, maybe just as a follow-up, what is our state of preparedness to host these meetings, considering the huge number of people, delegates rather, that you've set on the agenda?
Yes, at the back.
Okay, thank you. My name is Latun Yang from Vision Prime. My first question is on the is there any budget for the national plan to do with the protection of children? Number two,
Yes.
is there any coordinating board in terms of this national plan?
Anyone with a burning question? Theophilus, you okay? Over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much, Chief. The first question from Wallace on the level of preparedness. This is directed to Honorable Barbara Rodzi.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you, Wallace. We are more than prepared, Wallace. As you know, that we've been probably for the past 3 years, or 4 years rather, we've been hosting these big events in the country, particularly in Victoria Falls and Harare. Simply because Zimbabwe Victoria Falls has become a brand for Africa in hosting MICE tourism. It's a strategy that we are deliberately bidding for these events to come to our country so that we address the softer issues, diplomatic issues, through tourism. So it's a deliberate move as a government that we are doing to invite these people. And now we are getting used on how to host these events. Let me say the Minister of Home Affairs, Honorable Kazembe Kazembe, is standing very, very prepared with his team because they are the face of the country within their sector of immigration in receiving the internationals, as well as ensuring the transportation of our people who are locals who will be also attending these meetings. So as the Minister of Transport and Infrastructure, our airports, our roads, to ensure that people will be traveling safely to the destination. Accommodation, as I said, this one is actually a smaller event than those that we have hosted as the Ministry of Tourism. 2024, you would remember very well that we also had the UN Tourism in the country as we hosted the first ever gastronomy forum in Africa, and we had more people who came from various countries in Africa. Right now we have a very big event, Energy, where we are also hosting a number of people, a huge number of internationals, more than 600 of them who are arriving, and tomorrow there will be an official event on that. So in terms of preparedness we are, and then we offer tourism activities to those people who will be coming for business so that when they go back home, they tell a good story about Zimbabwe. We have our team standing in, prepared as well for the meet and greet to ensure that when they come into the country, they have a welcome, a warm welcome, Zimbabwean welcome, and then their accommodation, preparedness, and to be ready. This is encouraging also our operators to continue refurbishing their facilities and as well as improvement across the board of this sector. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The second question is directed to Honorable Edgar Moyo on the national plan budget and the coordination aspect. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair of this session. And thank you to the member who asked the question. I couldn't pick up the name. But anyway, the question is to do with the National Action Plan budget. Yes, there is a budget, and the budget is just about $2.4 billion over 5 years. This budget is going to be catered for through existing allocations on a year-on-year basis. It's also going to be funded through United Nations agencies, development partners, the private sector, and all who have been assigned different responsibilities over the next 5 years. So the budget is there, and that's the budget. In terms of coordination, the National Action Plan assigns different responsibilities to different MDs, ministries, departments and agencies. So there is that allocation in terms of the execution of the plan. The Ministry of Public Service, Labour and Social Welfare ultimately coordinates this plan. And there is also a monitoring and evaluation mechanism that has been included in the matrix, so that the whole thing is coordinated, is executed, and is also monitored and evaluated. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ministers, for responding to those questions. We have come to